So the biggest thing when you're taking the CompTIA exams is you want to look at the exam objectives. These are extremely crucial to successfully passing the exam. You need to know what's on it, right? So you can just Google CompTIA exam objectives. I just have the PDF up right here for the 220-1001. So this is going to be the first core of the exam. So this is the first exam you're going to have to pass. So if we scroll down here, we can see the percentages and the makeup of the actual exam. So first, we have mobile devices. So mobile devices are going to make up about 14%. Networking is 20%. Hardware is 27%. Virtualization is going to be 12%. And hardware and network troubleshooting is 27%. So the biggest chunk of the exam is going to be hardware and network troubleshooting. Doesn't mean you don't have to know mobile devices or virtualization and cloud computing, but they're going to be smaller portions. So the biggest things you want to focus on probably are going to be networking, hardware and network troubleshooting. But there's other two, if you don't know them, if you don't know anything about mobile devices, you don't know anything about virtualization and cloud computing, it's going to hurt you a lot. So you want to spend a good time on each of these, but you probably can figure out which you need to focus on more. Um, First, when we go to mobile devices, we can break down exactly what we have and what we need to know about each part. So if we go through mobile devices, we need to know about hardware and device replacement. How do you replace a keyboard? Like how do you replace maybe a key switch or something? Or what are the common causes of key switch damage? Like maybe it's, coffee being spilled on it or a ribbon cable being disconnected, something like that. Um, I'm going to go through hard drives. So like you have to know that some of the average sizes in mobile devices like laptops are 1.8 inch and 2.5 inch. You have to know kind of what all of these names mean. Like what is a mini PCIe? What is a display? Stuff about DC jacks, like how they get bent, so on. We're going to go through each of these sections individually and talk about them. But for now, we'll just move on to maybe looking at given scenario, configure basic mobile device network connectivity and application support. So here we can see some more stuff. We have to know about wireless cellular data networks. We need to learn about Bluetooth. So you can start to maybe put down what you think you know, and then we can do some practice quizzes, practice questions, stuff like that, work through those, and then as we progress, you're going to know what you need to focus on and like how much time you need to spend on that section. Because sometimes you already know a bunch about mobile devices, so you don't need to waste your time learning about maybe down here email, pictures, and music because you use that stuff a lot. So as we continue down, we go to networking. And if you have never done networking, networking is going to be one of the bigger beasts to tackle, but it's not extremely hard. We can definitely achieve it. So we're going to look at FTP, SSH, what's Telnet, what's DNS, what's HTTP. Some of these might sound familiar to you already. HTTPS, you're going to see that in top left a lot of the time of your browser. To keep going, you'll see some more stuff about routers, switches. This is going to give you some basic network information that'll give you a good foundation if you want to eventually take the Network Plus exam. So you can take this one, then move up, keep going. So we go down to hardware, and hardware, we're going to have basically explain basic cable types, features, and their purposes. We're going to identify common connector types, given a scenario, install RAM types, stuff like that. So hardware is going to be mostly talking about computer cables that are important. Um, Actually, a lot of cables. There's really a lot about cables here. You can see right here we got video cables, we got multi-purpose cables, peripherals, adapters. You have to be able to identify like an RJ45, RJ11, which some of you might know as dial-up. RJ45 is Ethernet. Keep going down. USB-C is important. And then we just keep going. So we have to talk about RAM. RAM is important. Knowing about channeling, dual channeling, triple channeling, which was sort of bigger in the past, but not so big right now. What's error correcting, and then parity versus non-parity. We'll go over that. You need to know about all the types of DDR RAM, SODIMM, so on. So then continue. Some of this stuff is kind of looped in with the mobile Like SODIMM is for laptops, so or primarily for laptops, so that's where you'll really see that section. But regardless, it's in hardware. Um, to keep going, we have a bunch more hardware terms, such as what's this? Given a scenario, select install and configure storage devices. So you know how to install some of this stuff. Um, like knowing how to install RAM is important. All right, so we keep going through these, and then that is pretty much the entirety of the exam after virtualization and cloud computing. So this is going to be shorter. Oh, actually, I skipped a section. Hardware and network troubleshooting, which is the fifth. So I would go through these, look at what you know, get a feel for it, and then you can go down here and look at all the acronyms. So maybe if there's like a term you don't know, you can look in the acronyms, and then this will give you a better idea to be able to start identifying some of these. Because in the beginning, there's a lot of terms, there's a lot of words you probably haven't seen before, like what is FTP, and you don't really know. I encourage you to Google that maybe if you just want to start jumping down the rabbit hole, but also we're going to break that down in each section as we go. So start to look this over, take like a mental note of what you know, what you don't know. If you want to maybe write down what you feel like is going to be the most challenging thing for you, you can do that. And then the next one, we're going to talk about study strategies.